from the Unarguables to the Immeasurables. And more specifically, what is meant by this topic title is from being controlled by the Unarguables to living from the ground of the Immeasurables. And the path between them is to work with these 5 characteristics of our enoughness. So the Unarguables, and this is a term coined by British meditation teacher Christina Feldman, whom Kay has been reading a lot of lately. The Unarguables, in her initial characterizing of it, applies to what we call the 3 Ps, how life is not permanent, perfect, and there's no need to take it personally. And Kay and I thought about it some and decided that we would expand, that it's okay to expand her definition of the Unarguables to the 4 conditions of being human that are beyond our control. I mean, after all, they're there, and arguing with them just is exasperating and produces no good result. The Immeasurables are the heart qualities: loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. And we call these the Immeasurables because they really can't be quantified. I mean, we might say, oh, I love this a little more, I love this a little less. But I don't think any of us would be inclined to try to say, oh, there's a 10-point scale for love, and here I am at 8, knowing that we just don't have that capacity, that these characteristics are beyond that. They're transcendent, they're infinite, and there's a mystery that goes with them that, at least for me, is a big part of their appeal and why they're so powerful. On Wednesday, we worked with the enoughness characteristic of awareness in traveling this path from the Unarguables to the Immeasurables. And today we will explore 2 more of the characteristics of enoughness: our capacity to avoid that which is harmful and approach that which is beneficial. So I'll just remind everybody quickly of the story that I told on Wednesday about my experience with college football and how I'm of 2 minds about it. How it has left me in a place where there's still the excitement and entertainment of it. There's the connecting with family that's always been an important part of it. And to have that connection move from initially with my father, and then very much with Rob, and now to Matt, and now to our grandchildren, is pretty powerful to have that as a big plus. And we do know that there's some benefits for the athletes. On the other hand, the money, as I noted the other day, is obscene. And all that amount of money inevitably leads to some degree of corruption and misfeasance. And I'm not sure that it's a 100% good deal for the athletes, both based upon things I read and personal stories I've heard. So here I am in this place where I have 2 minds about it. And it's easy to get caught up in the power of the Unarguables and just vacillate back and forth between the 2. And sometimes think, oh, this is exciting, and other times thinking, this is so irresponsible to be watching this and to be engaged with it. And it's not pleasant to be whipped back and forth. We've all had those experiences, and we know how unpleasant they are. When we are caught up in and controlled by the Unarguables, then a characteristic such as avoiding that which is harmful can degenerate or degrade into simply being aversive aversiveness. And if it goes far enough, it can turn into hatred. And I suspect that all of us know what it's like to be in moments of aversiveness and perhaps even hatred. And there may be a nanosecond of it's feeling good in an adrenaline rush kind of way or a self-righteous kind of way. But that passes quickly, and we find that it's really pretty uncomfortable to be in these places where we're just turning away and disregarding and being totally negative about something. And alternatively, we have this capacity to approach, which is about turning toward, approaching that which is beneficial for us. But if we get too caught up in the unarguables here, especially the way the four conditions show up in us personally, approaching can easily degrade into grasping and craving. Oh, I just need one more. My team lost this week, but they'll be back next week. I'll just watch this game one more time. Or if I watch the replay of it, maybe I can figure out exactly why they lost. Or maybe there's one more article to read about it. It's so easy to get caught up in the craving and the grasping of it. And when we're in aversiveness or craving, one or more of the unarguables are in charge. They've taken control of our experience. And that almost always is uncomfortable, results in suffering. So how do we deal with being in these places where we feel whipsawed back and forth when we're two minds about something? How do we deal with when those situations when aversiveness and craving have taken over and making us uncomfortable? And I'd like to lead us now through a practice that will give us some specific experience with it and some tools for dealing with it. So here we go. So beginning by allowing our attention, perhaps even directing our attention, to come into this place in this moment. Connecting to the surface we're sitting on, feeling the support of the floor underneath our feet, grounding ourselves right here. And settling in, appreciating the support of the surface we're sitting on that allows us to settle in. And softening the belly so that it easily expands on the in-breath and naturally contracts on the out-breath. Softening the face. And turning to our breathing. Knowing that we're breathing. As we're breathing in, knowing that we are breathing in. And as we're breathing out, knowing that we're breathing out. Being observers of our breathing. And recalling an experience in which you have mixed feelings about something. There are many positives to this experience, and there are many negatives. And we're not quite sure what to do about it. You might, if you were here Wednesday, you might continue working with the same experience that you worked with on Wednesday. And if you weren't here Wednesday, then just bring to mind an experience, maybe something recent, maybe something that comes up again and again. Really zero in on the specifics. Name silently to yourself some of the negatives and some of the positives. Noticing what it's like to be caught shifting back and forth between the negatives and the positives. How that feels. How the uncertainty of it feels. How the lack of resolution and clarity feels. Focusing in on the negative. Listing them again silently to yourself. And as you list the negative characteristics, noticing whatever thoughts or emotions are accompanying them. Noticing the tendency to want to avoid the negative. What does it feel like to avoid? Noticing if avoid has escalated to aversiveness. Or maybe even something stronger. Whatever you're experiencing as you focus on the negative, staying with the feelings, particularly noticing the physical sensations that accompany this negativity, this aversion. Being an observer of avoid and aversion. Knowing that this is avoid and aversion. And letting go of the negative aspects of this experience about which you have mixed feelings. And now focusing on the positive, the appealing characteristics, naming them. As you're naming them, noticing whatever thoughts or emotions are also arising. Noticing what approach feels like. Noticing if approach has shifted into grasping or craving. Being an observer of the presence of grasping. Knowing what grasping is like inside you. And letting go of the focus on the positive. And stepping into a place of greater awareness, of expanded awareness. Awareness of how you engage with the negative, how you engage with the positive. You're an observer. Recognizing what's happening. Accepting the reality that there are both negatives and positives. Saying yes to both. Being in this place of greater spaciousness. In this expanded space and this expanded awareness, saying yes. And offering yourself a little kindness for your willingness to be present in this experience. A little kindness for everyone who is here and is present.